And what you see in front of you is the screen on the left-hand side is the menu, and that's what we're going to go through now. I'll take you through all the menu items so that you know what the app contains. You'll also see in the central part of the screen is obviously the famous Income Tax Act that everyone uses on a daily basis. At the top of the screen, you'll see there are 4 quick access buttons. We'll hopefully be able to get around to those too. What you see, as I mentioned before, is the PC version of the app, the mobile version of the app. We may have time to get around to later on to do a short demonstration on that. There's a 6-minute video clip that we have on the mobile version. But if not, everything that you see on this app is contained in the mobile version of the app as well. And it's all in the same format as well. The only difference is the look and the design. In other words, because you'd be accessing that on your mobile device, either your smartphone or your tablet or iPad, the buttons are slightly different, but otherwise the format and everything that you see in front of you would be exactly the same. So you have familiarity across platforms. Also, just useful to mention that the app is available, as you know now, in PC version, also in iOS, that's Apple, and Android formats. So we've got the app in every format that's available to users. Okay, so let's see what legislation we have in front of us. We have the Income Tax Act, we have the VAT Act, we have the, I'm now on the left-hand screen, the left-hand menu. We have the VAT Act, we have the Customs and Excise Act, we have the Tax Administration Act. Then we'll go down here to this button over here, More Law. If you click down here, we've got the Employees Tax Incentive Act, we've got the Mineral and Petroleum Resource Royalty Act, we've got the Mineral and Petroleum Resources Royalty Administration Act, the Carbon Tax Act, the SDT Act, the SDT Administration Act, the State Duty Act, the Transfer Duty Act, and the UIF Act. We are also, at the request of one of the big 4 firms, we are also putting in the Skills Development Act that should be live very soon. All the groundwork has already been done for that, and really just waiting to go live with all that information. At the moment, the acts under More Law are not appearing on the mobile version of the app, but that is literally within, I think, a week or 2, we plan on making those go live as well. In addition to that, in addition to that, on the left-hand screen again, and left-hand menu again, we've got the following SARS information. We've got the SARS interpretation notes, as you'll see over here, the income tax interpretation notes, the income tax practice notes, and the VAT interpretation notes. If you click into here, you'll see all of the interpretation notes that appear. Very easy search function in front of us. If I'm looking for something to do with assessed loss, I just type in assessed, and you'll see over here we've got the word assessed loss over here. I can go straight into that piece of information, and here I'm in interpretation note 33, and it's updated regularly. And of course, you can print this information directly, including from your mobile device. You could print this to a printer wirelessly as well. That's the interpretation notes, and of course, the same principle would apply for the practice notes and the VAT interpretation notes as well. We've also got all the SARS published rulings, which includes the binding class rulings, the binding general rulings, and the binding private rulings. Works in exactly the same way. You can see easy to search for. You just click into the search box at the top, and whatever you're looking for will pop up in relation to whichever ruling you are searching for. So for instance, let's try over here. We want to look under amalgamation transactions. Amalgamation, you can see every single binding private ruling that we've got in front of us pops up here dealing with amalgamation rulings. Then back onto the left-hand menu, you'll see that we have all the VAT regulations. This was a request actually by a guy at SARS who was testing the app, Pranesh Rampal, and he said that it was very important that the VAT people have all the VAT regulations as well, which we've included here with the same type of search mechanism. We also have all the customs rules, and that's all included in one single document. And as it's updated, we obviously update it on the app. Here's 840 pages of customs rules for those of you who are involved in customs rules, and we also have, again, on the left-hand side here, all the SARS certain SARS guides, which are very popular. We have the CGT SARS guides, we have the dividend tax SARS guide, we have the dispute resolution SARS guide, and numerous that were requested by PK, Octagon, and KPMG, dealing with employers and employees tax. We've also got all the SARS tax guides for each year for the last 5 years. So you can quickly access all of the information related to the tax changes in these guides. And of course, you can certainly print out all this information as I indicated to you. Back to the left-hand menu over here, we've got the double taxation agreements, every single double taxation agreement that relates to South Africa. So we've got all the African double taxation agreements, and we have all the ex-Africa double taxation agreements as well. So if I'm looking for the double taxation agreement for with Canada, I just type in, there you go, it's quicker than I can type. And here's the double taxation agreement for Canada, just pops up like that, easy to access, easy to view, and of course, that all can be printed out from wirelessly from your mobile device or from your desktop. So that's all the SARS information over here. Then we'll move down to a nifty function which I developed called tax definitions. So here you'll find every single tax definition contained either in the Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, or the Customs and Excise Act, or the Tax Administration Act, every single definition that is contained there. So let's say, for instance, you are doing, you're checking out something related to, let's try trade. Something related to trade, so you type in the word trade, you can see here 3 definitions in the Income Tax Act that relates to trade. And of course, you can go directly to these definitions from this location here. So if you want to look up the word trade in section 1 of the Income Tax Act, you simply click on it, and the Income Tax Act will go straight to the definition of the word trade in the Income Tax Act. It's just loading. There we go. Trade and trademarks. You can see all the words related to trade popped up right over here. Then we've also got an extremely useful function over here, which I'm going to come to later, which is my briefcases. That's basically creating client folders, opinion folders, and various other uses that one has with regard to basically, as you'll see at the top, specific assignments, opinions, client project, client meetings, etc. You can add pieces of tax legislation to your briefcase. You can also add all the information that I've already demonstrated to you, which includes all the SARS, interpretation notes, public rulings, published ruling, DTAs, etc. And you can add notes as well to your briefcase. In addition, I pointed out here at the top of the screen that all briefcases are completely confidential. In other words, it's not a briefcase is not saved in a cloud or anywhere outside of your computer. So hApp-e-tax cannot access it, and neither can anyone else access it unless, of course, they steal your computer or hack into your personal computer, depending on your security measures that you have on your computer. You can see over here we have various briefcases already created. Let's just try out the demo one here that I've got. That's named demo. So you can see over here, we can create a note very simply. And you can write in the note whatever you'd like to add in that note. And then you just click save. You can add definitions, and when you add the definitions from the legislation, and I'll show you how to do that very shortly, you'll see that once they land up in the briefcase, they get categorized under the heading of definitions. So here are some definitions from the Income Tax Act that we've added just as an example. And of course, again, you can go directly to these definitions from where we are in the briefcase very simply by clicking on that definition. You can also add sections of the Income Tax Act. You can add paragraphs of schedules of the Income Tax Act. You can add other sections, obviously, of the other legislation. You can see it automatically categorizes it as it reaches the briefcase. So you've got it all nicely organized for you in the briefcase. Here's the Tax Administration Act, some section, section 36, and you've got the VAT Act, Securities Transfer Act. Just add all these for examples, so that you can see what the capability of the briefcase is. You can also obviously add SARS information, and again, you click onto this piece of information. If you clicked into Interpretation Note 4, you'd go directly to Interpretation Note 4. The same thing with DTAs, BPRs, and the regulations, etc. So you can go directly from there, and you can easily remove all this information as you wish. That's the briefcases, and we'll show you how that works in the actual legislation itself. Then we've also got, and this was at the request of the big four firms, that we include explanatory memoranda related to each year of the new legislation. And you can see here we've got until 2020. When 2021 comes out, that will obviously be added. And then we've also got, at the request of many tax professionals, we've got old tax legislation for the last 3 years, and obviously we have the current legislation. So we've got four years of tax legislation contained in the app, in case you need to cross-reference or check to see what the legislation was in 2018, 2019, 2020, and that will be updated every year on the 31st of December. However the legislation looks on that date, we will freeze that into a PDF document and include it here, and you can obviously go directly from this point. And then lastly, but not leastly, you can see over here on the left-hand menu, the check for updates. In this screen, you can check to see if there's any updates. You're told at the top of the screen whether you're up to date or not. And if you open up the app, it will tell you if there is an update available. And we recommend, we don't necessarily notify our subscribers every time that we update the app, and we only notify you if there is a substantial update or something that's considered to be critical to tax professionals. Otherwise, we don't want to clutter people's screens the whole time, telling them to update it, because it takes a minute or two to perform the update. And therefore, periodically, we recommend that a person performs the update. But if there's a critical update, you will certainly be notified of that update as you open up the app. Okay, so let's go now to the VAT Act and check out the functionality of what we have on the screen. So here you can see that the VAT legislation has popped up. We're now in the index section. You have at the top, you have the the Income Tax Act index, the VAT index, and the custom index, which is quick access buttons to reach those indexes. So if I want to go to the VAT index, I just click like that on the VAT index, and it will go directly to the VAT index, and I can access any of the sections related to that. You'll also note that certain of the sections are highlighted in purple. That was the color that we used this year for the latest amendments to the VAT and other legislation contained in the Act. So if you are going to Section 10, you'll know that in Section 10 of the VAT Act, there is a certain new legislation that came into play. Let's actually go to Section 10. So here we are in Section 10. I'm scrolling down now, just want to see where the new legislation is. There we go. Here you can see, for instance, Section 10, subsection 22A has been removed, and therefore it's highlighted in purple together with the annotation to the Act. So here we are at Section 10. You'll note at the top of every section and every paragraph in any of the legislation, there are 4 buttons available to you. Let me just quickly take you through this. So here, this is where you add this particular section into a briefcase. If I want to add this to a briefcase, I just click over here, plus add it here. if I want to add it to the Deloitte demo, if I want to add it to another one, I can add it to as many briefcases as I like. That piece of information already been added to that particular briefcase, as was notified, and now that information has gone to all these briefcases, and you'll find it over there, which is very, very useful, as I'm sure you are aware. In addition, I'm now back at the top right-hand corner of the section 10 of the VAT Act. You'll see over here, we have an add a note. So I can add a note to this briefcase. So let's type in here, tax box demo, and I can type in whatever note I need to remind myself of related to section 10. Let's say check changes here, and we'll save that. And then over here, you'll see, again, in the top right-hand corner that you'll be informed when you go to a particular section that there is a note in this. And of course, you can add as many notes as you want until the number will just keep increasing. In addition to that, you can print out section 10. This won't print out the whole VAT Act. It will actually just print out the section that you're currently in. And via the print function, which you can see over here, let me just move my picture out the way. Over here, you can see that you are able to not only print it to your wireless printer or wirelessly or via wire, but you can also PDF this information. So by clicking on Adobe PDF, you can PDF the information and then send that off to a client or to use it for whatever purpose you'd like to use it for. Whilst I'm talking about sending things to clients, you can also obviously copy and paste information by just copying it. You can also highlight the information here. All that you do is you highlight it with your mouse. So I'm going to highlight this information here, and then I'm going to right click and click on highlight, and the information will automatically turn yellow. A button over here will come up. If I want to remove the highlights, then I can just click on the button over here and it will remove that highlight. Last in, first out, that's the principle that we use for the highlighting function. And of course, when you put this information now into your briefcase, it will be included with the highlights. So you will come back to the section, it will be in the highlighted format. Then I'd like to show you an extremely nifty function that's included in the app. Again, all of what I've been saying until now, except for the highlight function actually, but all of these functions that you see on this app are included in the mobile version of the app. If I click on the search function over here, so this was specifically designed very carefully in order to ensure that when a tax professional is looking for information, he will find the exact information. He's not going to land up with 468,000 search results. He's going to land up with all the search results that he would be specifically looking for. It's targeted towards somebody who is a tax professional, and even if he's a student or something like that, the information would come up in the format that he wants the information, and is highly accurate and intuitive to the needs of a tax consultant, an accountant, a student in tax, etc. So let's try out, let's do again assess loss. And we'll click go. And now you'll see every section that deals with assessed loss, but not only in the Income Tax Act, in all the legislation. So here it's categorized for you. You'll see that all the sections that deal with it are pertinent to the issue of assessed loss. And if you go to the section, obviously the word assessed loss will be highlighted for you there. If you need to check out to see what that section is dealing with specifically related to assessed loss. And you can see all the information is very nicely categorized, so you know exactly where you're going to be going to. Here's section 47 of the Income Tax Act. Here's the other legislation, the Tax Administration Act also mentions issues related to assessed loss. Here's the Mineral Petroleum Resources Act, also deals with assessed losses. And also, of course, you see over here SARS information that relates to assessed loss will also pop up, and you can go directly to all of these pieces of information from the search function here. So you can see that we don't have 20,000 search results. We've got all the results that are necessary and pertinent in an intuitive manner that a tax consultant, an accountant, a student would want to see this information. We were very careful in creating that. So let's close that. And that basically, for people who have reading issues, you can also zoom in and zoom out into this the information. So you can make the font bigger and smaller as is required by you. In addition, you'll see in the legislation that wherever there is a section referred to in a particular section, in other words, subsection is mentioning another section. Here we've got a mention of section 18. That section is highlighted, and you can go directly to section 18 by clicking just like that. And here's section 8. You can go directly to section 8, and so on and so forth. I'm sure you can work it out for yourself. And that takes us to, we're now at 11:55. This presentation is due to end at 12 p.m. But I'm very happy to take any questions